So I guess it's 5 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order with a roll call.
Greg Meyer,
Yes.
Wayne Bellmeyer,
Yep.
Cindy Wright,
Here.
and Arnold here.
Here.
Tim Weezer.
Here.
All right.
So you want to read the public hearing and staff?
This one for
Here, I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Second to that? Second. We can just do that as a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, we'll approve the minutes. The minutes are approved.
She made me read it before the meeting.
There we go. It's a public hearing. Take notice, please. Notice of public hearing. Please take note that the application has been made by Sean Mazai, 11701 Avenue North, Dayton, Minnesota, 55327, for a conditional use permit to place a cabin in an agricultural district, section 14 to 14.3. Conditional uses subdivision 1, subsection 5, in Winnebago Township on the following premises to it. Part of the southwest quarter, section 3, township 101, range 5, Houston County, Minnesota, parcel 1600240005. Said applicant standing and making application is as fee owner of said described lands. The hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room, City of Caledonia, Minnesota, at 5 p.m. on Thursday, July 27th, 2023. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comment should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department, Marshall Street, Caledonia, Minnesota, 55921, or email department.eric@co.houston.mn.us. It must be received by Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. Comments in regard to the petition received by this date will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Planning Commission prior to the meeting. Houston County Planning Commission by Mark Herrick, Zoning Administration, advertised July 17th, 2023.
And I see the applicant is not here,
Yes.
so. You want to just kind of give us an overview of what's
Sure.
going on and
Sure.
kind of, we had this last meeting and we
Right.
tabled it.
I mean, what transpired last time was a number of iterations, but at the end with various new information. Initially, he went for a dwelling permit with the idea that he would use a cabin because it doesn't preclude you putting a cabin. A dwelling doesn't have a specification for size, so you actually can put in a small building as a dwelling. And so that doesn't restrict things, but as it turned out, he was willing to work with his neighbor, Gerald Schrader. And Gerald wants to put in a dwelling. So, and they are in the same quarter section, and so you can do a cabin and a dwelling in that same quarter section. So Sean was willing to, we brought this to him, and he was willing to change his conditional use permit request from a dwelling to a cabin. So the existing building, probably one of the main questions was, if you measured the absolute outside perimeter, it would be about 30 feet bigger than 400 square feet. But one of the things that we've done routinely is we give people the cantilever, so to speak. We'll have the post and what sticks out over the edge. We haven't counted that. We've counted where it touches the ground and then taken that inside area to be that usable dimension. And so, and we've done that with awnings, we've done that with decks, lots of structures, and that comes in under 400 square feet. So it does meet the definition.
Sounds like a good remedy. I have one.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
same one, then you're talking?
Yeah, what
Okay.
comes down to is that it's how we want to define that edge. And we have certainly defined it as the post where it contacts and then gone. Because you run into this a lot with decks or
Carport.
soffits on houses
Mhm.
and right away to
Okay.
roads.
Yep.
There's a number of situations where it can make quite a difference with a couple of feet because you just add that up over the runout. So that's how we approach that.
I saw it was for sale on Marketplace.
Okay. But so then based on that, he's requesting the conditional use permit for it as a cabin. And we process the request as that, and that's basically as far as the locational criteria and those type of things, it's still the same situation that he will orientate it, he will work on the road some, and some of the concerns that were brought up previously about access getting to the site. He's willing to work on it. He has a contractor lined up to do some work on it.
So did Gerald and Sean get together at all, or just by phone maybe or something?
That I don't know.
But anyway,
I
they seem to have
I
worked
believe
it
they
out.
talked.
Yeah.
And Gerald did talk with Amelia a little bit today, kind of wondering what was up. And I certainly approached Gerald after the last meeting, and I said, based on what we learned in this meeting, is there anything you want to change? And he said, no, I want to go ahead with my dwelling permit as is. And I said, okay, we will do that. And so he's continuing forward. He needs to get his septic information set up. And so he has some more information to submit before we can completely act on everything, but he is working on it as well.
So the other question is, did Sean have to pay twice to,
We will refund. Yeah.
that would be, that sounds good. Don't want to get.
And we were thinking if he was here tonight, we were gonna work out the logistics of it.
Sure. Okay. Does anybody have any comments? I think everybody pretty well remembers this from last time here, but any discussion on it?
I would just make the comment that I know, thank you to the two parties involved to solve this issue. They each, it sounded like pretty much got what they wanted, so that's worked out for the best. Also on page 4, site characteristics refers to figure 4,
Yes, sorry.
and that was not included, but it does designate that the cabin is located on class 4 soils.
Right, right. And that was, I deleted that and I didn't catch it. So in the board packet, because it's not relevant. Yeah, it does relate. Wow. So I removed it. And I appreciate it.
So I'll make a motion to remove findings 8, 9, 12, 13, and 14. For non-applicable.
All those in favor of removing those items?
I'll second.
Oh, that's a good idea too. We got a motion made and seconded. Parts of the findings here. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So you want to go through the findings?
Yeah.
We're ready for that.
Subdivision 1 findings, the planning commission shall not recommend the conditional use permit unless they find the following, that the proposed use conforms to the Houston County land use permit. Staff analysis, cabins are conditionally allowed in the agricultural protection district. This protects agricultural interests, which is a primary goal of the comprehensive land use.
All those that agree with the staff analysis of number 1, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? Okay.
Number 2, that the applicant demonstrates a need for the proposed use. Staff analysis, that the applicant indicates the cabin is for recreational purposes and storage of equipment used to manage the site. This demonstrates a need for the proposed use.
All those that agree with the staff analysis of number 2, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 3, that the proposed use will not degrade the water quality of the county. Staff analysis, the cabin will not have a water supply or a septic system, and will have minimal impact on water quality.
All those that agree with the analysis of number 3, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 4, that the proposed use will not adversely increase the quantity of water runoff. Staff analysis, the cabin footprint is minimal and will not substantially influence the quantity of water runoff.
All those that agree with the analysis of number 4, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 5, that soil conditions are adequate to accommodate the proposed use. Staff analysis, the soil survey indicates that prime ag soils are not being built on. The cabin will conform to the natural slope of the land. A septic system will not be installed, so soil permeability is not a major consideration.
All those that agree with the analysis of number 5, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 6, that potential pollution hazards have been addressed and that standards have been met. Staff analysis, there are no anticipated pollution hazards.
All those that agree with the analysis of number 6, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 7, that adequate utilities, access, roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. Staff analysis, no modern amenities will be installed with the cabin, and access is from County Highway 14.
All those that agree with the analysis on number 7, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 10, that the conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted. Staff analysis, there is one neighbor's shop, which is approximately 600 feet from the proposed dwelling, from the proposed cabin, sorry. That the addition of a limited use cabin is not anticipated to negatively affect the use of neighboring properties.
All those that agree with the analysis on number 10, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 11, that the establishment of a conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for predominant uses in the area. Staff analysis, the predominant land use is agriculture and forest, the continuation of which will not be impacted by the cabin. Much of the area continues to be tillable acreage and woodland. The cabin should not impact neighboring landowners' ability to utilize their properties for existing uses.
All those that agree with that analysis, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 15, that site-specific conditions and such other conditions that are established are required for the protection of the public's health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Staff analysis, public health, safety, morals, and general welfare are not anticipated to impact.
All those that agree with the analysis on number 15, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll make a motion to accept the findings as read.
Is there a second?
Second.
We better do a roll call on that.
Okay? Greg Myrie,
Yes.
Wayne Feldmeyer,
Yes.
Cindy Wright,
Yes.
Ed Hamel,
Yes.
Larry Haffner,
Yes.
Jim Weezer.
Yes.
So I guess there's nothing to announce on that. Nobody's here.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I could certainly can leave the conditions too, I guess.
Yeah.
Following, should the Houston County, let's see. They need to make a motion.
Yeah, well, they don't have to make a motion on the condition, they just probably want to review them.
I'll go ahead and read them. The permittee shall comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations. Second one, the county may enter onto the premises at reasonable times and in a reasonable manner to ensure that the permit holder is in compliance with the conditions and all other applicable statutes, rules, and ordinances.
And then we'll add, let's see, we just approved the findings. We didn't approve anything else yet, did we?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the conditional use permit with the 2 conditions.
Is there a second?
Also good.
Motion's been made and seconded. We'll roll call recommending this to the county board.
Greg Myrie,
Yes.
Wayne Feldmeyer,
Yes.
Cindy Wright,
Yes.
Ed Hamel,
Yes.
Larry Haffner,
Yes.
Jim Weezer.
Yes.
And we already did the minutes. Does anybody have any topics they want to bring up as other business? Because I think we're done with that, so. Did you have any other things to talk about, Wayne, or? Last time you'd kind of mentioned a few things that,
Well, we've been talking about a few things that, Greg here has been approaching it too. They make cement buildings now where you just blow them up and you wet them down and they turn into cement. They're about 1.5 inches thick. And I had a guy propose to me, he wanted to make a cement building. And he's checked on it too, so. Is this something that we're gonna have to address? Cause you know, they're using them in war situations for hospitals and everything now. So they can make them real quick, they last forever.
so how big? That's another
You
question.
can do any size,
Really?
yeah.
So where's this guy thinking he'd use it for a cabin?
Well, he didn't really say where.
I was told they're selling them to be held down where all the tornadoes and stuff are going through down there.
Yep.
Like
That's,
awesome tornado. That's it.
Mhm.
1.5 thick.
As they're in the ground a little ways.
Oh, so they actually bury him or put him in?
I don't think they bury them. I think they said when they pour them first, but then they make deals for the windows. So they get some sunlight in them too. Well, you know, it's a perfect deer blind. That's what you gotta look at, because that's what these guys are all looking at. They're looking at perfect deer blinds.
A little heater in there would be pretty nice.
So it becomes permanent.
Yep, permanent.
So what do you say they blow them up? Do they have a skin
They all-
inside?
No, they somehow make these, they make, the army makes them. And they blow them up. And they just use air compressor to blow them up. And they just level the field, blow them up. And then the windows in that aren't shaped. So they put the wood in the windows. So then when they wet them down, it all just seals right up.
What do they call it? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
I can't.
Yeah, it's a
And
company.
I was afraid to bring it up because you know what? I'd never heard of it before and you know what? As long as he's heard of it, God, should bring it up, you know. Because you know what? If they turn out to be cheaper, you say, okay, then the other thing I was talking about before you guys came in was like the fitting boys are buying all these what do you call it?
Shipping container.
Shipping containers, because the Chinese aren't taking the shipping containers back again. And they're going down someplace and they're buying all these huge shipping containers. And they've got doors all over on. And so they're gonna, okay, here's what the fitting boys told me. They said, you know what? It takes maybe $6,000 to build a cabin. But a shipping container you can buy for $6,000. You know, and see, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna just buy one and have them set it in? And he said the shipping containers are just about airtight. You
They're
know,
making houses on it.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
There's shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
See, this is something. Is this something we should address? I don't know.
well, you talked about,
Well, you know, and what we were talking about earlier was, okay. I think this starts to get into a building inspection.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right.
it's different than.
And, you know, would we go about it to say we have a performance standard? That says you need to maintain. Airflow, density requirements, how, I mean. A design committee that says, we like your house or we don't like your house.
Well, if it's attached to utility. If it's attached to utilities, it's a dwelling.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, okay, I have one in Brownsville right now that I'm gonna have to tell him. He probably, I mean, he's in the DOT right away. But what he did is he bought a shipping container, painted it, and put power in it. And he's using it next to his boathouse. Turns out he's on really DOT right away. He's really not on his own property. But in that instance, I could see. The whole area would be completely. blind. So
Yeah.
If you think about it, that's their extra storage that they don't have on their boathouse.
Yeah, that's right.
How is that different than a trailer or something else
Well,
that's prefab?
it's a utility. It's an accessory structure. You know, I mean, they're basically 8 by 16 in this case. I mean, so
Yeah.
they're barely under 200 square feet. You know, so they dodge the permitting part, but there's still also the requirements that you have to be 20 feet away from the right of way. There's some other requirements. Those are pretty firm.
Mhm.
But the idea that somehow one of those would, you know, you could put them in real quick.
Yeah.
And you could hook power up to them, or you could do various other. And what he did was pretty clever. I mean, he opened up the door and then he made a screen door. And so he could open it up. It could work in there and it had a nice screen, a nice door. I mean, it's very well done. You had fold down shelves, had a roll cab in there, the table saw.
bet the Corps engineer don't know about it.
Well, and it is just barely off the railroad right away too.
That's where I
So,
would.
the placement still apply? I mean, I don't know how
Well,
people could just
I
do
mean,
that.
that's in that instance, that's what's occurring, but I'm just using it as an example. of People are certainly looking at
Mhm.
that. It's like, boy, there you go.
The thing that could
It's-
be a problem is that the cabin is 400 square feet, and if you didn't call it a cabin, you could put a bunch of them out of.
Yeah, that's right.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing you gotta think about. You could have these storage things all over, especially if they're going cheaper than you can build a cabin,
Mhm.
you know.
how do you look at them then? If they're 20 feet long, 40 feet long? I mean,
Well, we're looking at it square footage wise.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at, are they rigidly attached to the ground? Where it does get interesting is if they have a hard electrical connection, that would be considered a rigid attachment. But that doesn't preclude you from doing something like a dryer plug, where you come along with a buried line and come up and just plug on.
What about solar?
And you could do photovoltaics, sure.
Well, this is one thing I learned too. I put a cabin up years ago. And I got electrical line within 100 feet of it. But you know what? In the rules and regulations say you don't put electricity in the cabin. And so I never did. And then now everybody brings a generator up there.
Yep.
I mean, so
Oh,
if they got a storage unit, they're gonna buy a generator too.
Here's a very big concern. And Amy brought this up. There's one by Brownsville, is it? Up on top of the hill, that they've done all that. They have a water tank that they bring in and a generator that they bring in. And you look at the inside, it looks like a little house. I mean,
We had that.
Wow.
it's very, very much there, and he's advertising it for sale. So
Really?
what are people gonna consider this as?
For sale on site or
Yeah,
for,
On
What's
site?
it?
They have those Smith structures have to be.
well, that'll be the next thing. Somebody buy them, fix them and.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna buy it, they're gonna say, I wanted me to do this, and this, and we're like, right?
Well, we have no control over any of these cabins out there. People pull a cabin in over the weekend, we know nothing. Is there any way that we could get? So we have control and know how many cabins are out here in our county?
Like a registration or something.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, if you're gonna want a cabin, you gotta register it, and maybe pay a $25 permit or something.
That would be a smart thing to do.
Otherwise, we have no control. We don't know how many cabins are out here. I mean, there's guys buying up all this woods land and they're
And they-
building little cabins. in
Yeah,
there
if they're
for-
small enough, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
For the hunting.
I mean, a lot of cabins get conditional use permits, but not all.
No, I mean, we don't have a clue how many's out there.
You know?
We talked about this a couple of years ago, getting the realtors involved. I mean, make sure that they're up to date on the zoning rules as far as what's a buildable lot, and what they're selling.
And actually, the police should know where the cabins are and how easy it is to get to. Because this is a situation that happened for me. Okay, I helped John Griggs put his underground house up. And when I did it, they got a crew in from, I think it was Milwaukee. And well, they had one weekend off, and so this crew went to Blue Duck. And the week before, they had Rushford Days. And Jay Summers threw him in jail because he was attacking women. And when he went to Blue Duck, this guy raped a girl at Blue Duck. And I worked with this guy for another week. And the reason they couldn't find him because he was at the original cabin that I built. Because they didn't have a place to stay, so I just let him stay at the cabin. And I felt guilty about that. But I went and talked to Jay Summers, and Jay Summers says, I can't talk to you about this. So somebody should know where all these cabins are. I've had guys put campsites up at my place already. They just bicycle in, throw a tent up and say, I'm on state right away, you can't touch me. You're gonna see that in the future all over.
That land pressure will do nothing but increase.
And you know what? That guy that, camped on my place, I went and I called the police and the police checked on it. He was wanted in the Twin Cities. And, the police were honest with me. They said, you know what? Even if we haul him back, what's it gonna do us? Why should our county have to pay for taking the guy back? It's just a bad deal all the way around.
Well, I suppose we better get going for the next meeting.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. I'll second it. All in favor?
Wants to get out of here once now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I think we're done.